Hello everybody, Tom Matuska here again for the Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, Thursday afternoon live, and Brett Winfield and I once again, and we're really happy to have with us good friend and fellow taxidermist Brad Colson. Brad has been in the business a long time, and you're going to benefit from his expertise. And if you joined us last week, a couple weeks ago, I guess, we did the mule deer for 5 weeks long. That was a ongoing saga. It takes a long time when you get an hour at a time to show somebody how to mount a mule deer. And we used the new Brian Olson change out nose and the Sagebrush Series mule deer mannequin, which has been really, really popular. And last week, we were fortunate to have Brenda Duvall and Jim Kimball from the Safari Room here. And they joined us for a bear rug shell mounting demonstration, and Brenda mounted a rug shell. If any of you have bear rugs to do and want to see her method of doing a bear, we did a closed mouth bear, and man, she can put one of those together pretty fast. Brett and I probably would have drug that out into a 5-week series too, but Brenda managed to get it done in 42 minutes and 39 seconds. Not only does she do a great job in mounting the bears, but does all the material work also. And I bet your mother was a great material worker.
She did a lot of black bears and did a fantastic job.
I bet she did.
She really enjoyed it.
She was good. One of the first times I ever was at your shopper, you had hides hanging there, and in Brad's shop, he had all these hides folded, and I looked at them. I've been in this business at that time 30 some years. I looked at those hides and I thought, are they tanned or what are they? They were the most beautiful fleshed folded skins, and I had to ask, and that's just the way Mom takes care of them. And your mom fleshed those hides and babysat them while they dried too, I'm sure, because they were the most beautiful hides to where I wasn't sure what I was looking at. They were so pretty. Hats off to her talent, because that was pretty fascinating to me that anybody could make a salted hide look that good, because mine that I put in the box go to the tannery don't quite look like that. Anyway, so last week we did the bear rug thing, and Jim and Brenda helped us out with some customer things, and did this beautiful jumping bobcat and pheasant behind us, and we're kind of excited about that. It's a preview of our new line of bobcats, our jumping bobcats, which we think is going to be bigger and better and cooler than everybody else's, and a bigger array of sizes and things. So
in the future,
coming up soon.
They're not in the catalog.
And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about competitions. If any of you are thinking about competing, this is show season, and for us we have to gear everything towards, it's one show after another, and our first one coming up is Wisconsin, and that's a big production for us. And we have, I'm going to miss somebody, but they can probably look online for our shows, I'm betting, couldn't they?
Yes, and we do have, I'll pull up the list of our shows that we will be, all the shows, so it'll come up on your screen in just a second.
And we've got Minnesota and Iowa and Nebraska and South Dakota and
Texas
and Pennsylvania and the NTA. And,
we're gonna NTA's in Sioux Falls again this year.
NTA, the NTA really came out last year and put on a great production at Sioux Falls. It was one of the better NTA shows that I've been to in a long time, and so we're kind of excited about that also. And so we're going to be talking about a little bit of answering questions, fielding questions about the NTA, about shows, and along with, you're going to be judging some shows. What are you going to be judging?
I'll be in Wisconsin in a couple weeks, South Dakota, and then Texas.
And so you'll be able to talk to Brett there, and if you enter anything, you're going to get a great critique and a pretty darn good job of judging.
So can you guys explain the benefits of joining your state's taxidermy association if you are a new hobbyist and not a professional or seasoned taxidermist? I live in Pennsylvania and the yearly fee is $50.
Let me talk?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. What do I do when I'm talking? Oh, because you're so good at it. Say it's dumb things. First of all, I go to these shows, and if you're trying to learn on your own, or in your own little shop, you're kind of sheltered from a lot that goes on. By joining your state association, you have the support of other taxidermists. And when I started, taxidermy was a very, and I'm sure when you did too, protected business. And I'm not about to tell a taxidermist in the same town how I do stuff.
Yeah, it was hard to
but
get
I
anyone
was
to-
willing to tell you because you live 4 hours away. You know, you're not going to affect me. But taxidermists were very secretive, and when we joined associations, you found out that there's people clear across the state that were willing to share their methods and techniques. You know, so that's one thing. You know, the camaraderie and the fellowship of they're going to have had the same problems you have with a certain specimen, or you may be able to help them out, or where do they get a certain product, where do you get a certain product. Most of the shows have an annual convention and competition where you can enter your entries, and in either birds, fish, I mean they have a lot of multiple different things, habitats, all kinds of different categories, and get critiques from the judges. Most of the states that we go to have world-class judges. I mean, they're not just somebody who does a pretty nice, you know, fish or bird. These people have been around the block and know what they're talking about. Also at the shows, there's lots of seminars. You can learn how to mount anything from a javelina to a rattlesnake to a mourning dove to
And I think a lot of
fish.
times too with those seminars, even if you pay $100 to attend all the seminars, if there's 10 seminars, that breaks down to about $10 per seminar.
Yeah.
And so, but if you had to go and spend time individually with those people that are giving those seminars, it might cost you hundreds of dollars, not only in travel and lodging, but to pay them for their time. So you have a situation there where you have some top-notch people there that you can pick their brain and ask them questions, and really for a $10 fee per seminar, you get an hour or 2 hours of their time, which is a lot more valuable than $10. So it's even if it's $100 to attend all the seminars, when you break it down per seminar,
Sure.
it comes down to just a few dollars per seminar.
And what's going to surprise a lot of people is they're going to see a lot of these judges and seminarians in Breakthrough and Taxidermy Today, and these people are like gods to some of these people. They read about them and they see the articles and they see their great work, and now all of a sudden they're in the same room with them, and then they're going to find out that these people are just like them. They'll talk to them, and they think that they're so far up on this pedestal, but they will actually talk to you and they will help you and they will give you advice. So and befriend you. I mean, that's a huge thing.
Absolutely.
Huge thing.
And I think the other part of that too is the seminar time and the judges' critiques. So if you are able to bring a piece to your show, you can get some one-on-one time with your piece and the judge, and really get some input that way. I think that's benefit everybody I know that's ever done it, that extra time.
Eugene, answering your question regarding putting the list of the shows on Facebook, we can send that to you and or post that on Facebook after this live is done. And then Tom Daughter said that he just mounted a deer with our whitetail noses and he loves them.
Ooh. Hey.
We have a
Good
lot of,
theater.
as we go to the shows, Brett might be judging, but we'll still have the booth there, set up the booth. And we are pretty excited about a lot of the new products we have. We have some really, really fun stuff. We show you a little bit today, but new paints and new habitat materials and new mannequins, and it's all new stuff. It's exciting. We're proud to have it in the supply company, and we're gonna have it at the shows as much as we can bring. We keep getting a bigger trailer every year, so as we break axles and things like that. So we like to show you those and show you how they work and let you try stuff.
That's another one, circling back to the question of the benefits of going to shows, is getting some one-on-one time with the vendors and new products and getting to see how to use some of those things, touching and handling. It's easy to order out of a catalog, but sometimes you wonder, what does that tool really feel like? What is it going to do in my hand? And you'll get to see those. You'll get to see lots of great seminars and demonstrations with those products. What else you got?
All right. So, when competing with a white-tailed deer, what are the judges looking for?
Ooh, that's a
Oh
biggie.
man, that's a good one for Brad.
Brett, you or somebody asked the other day, was it one of the students asked, last week maybe, can they get a copy of the score sheet?
Yeah.
And Brenda commented, yeah, contact any state that you're going to, because there are different score sheets. And but call your state association and they'll probably email you one or send it to you. And just by looking at it, it makes things a lot more clear. And last week the discussion went to, she was critiquing somebody and they said, I never dreamed you looked at that. Well, if you'd had a score sheet while you were mounting this animal, you would have spent more time on the nictitating membrane, the carbuncle, the ear liners, you know.
It kind of gives you a checklist to go
Right,
down
right.
as you're looking over your piece and that kind of thing. And ultimately, really, what the judges are looking for is just an exact copy of the animal itself. So, a lot of the answers to people's questions are right there on the animal. The seminars and the instructors can show you how to take them apart and put them back together again. But there's so much information located right on the carcass or right on the animal itself. And it can, it's helpful to have people tell you where to look to find those answers. But really, the answers to all your questions are really right there on the animal, right there on the carcass. So I think simply being observant and really taking a good look at the animal and doing a lot of homework and a lot of studying, because ultimately what those judges are looking for is just an exact replica of the real thing. Yeah, realism.
And you can have the best products. I mean, we'll sell you the best ears, the best form, and the best nose, the best paint. We can supply you everything you need, but unless you know how to put it all together and your pair patterns and look at the real animal, you can't do it.
And I think the thing too is that rather than trying to mount a piece to please a judge or to necessarily meet that, ultimately you're judged on the score sheet. But I think it's more important to just try and mount that animal or bird or fish to the best of your ability. Each judge may look for different things, so I think sometimes if you're trying to mount a piece to please a judge, that can be a little bit of a circular deal that you never do quite catch up to the right judge. So I think rather than trying to please the
That's
judge,
a good statement.
it's best just to try and to mount that animal to the best of your ability instead of trying to.
Very good. Make it copy what you see.
Copy what you see. Yeah.
Jim Kimball always said, "Put in what you take out."
Yeah.
I like that.
Kurt would like to know how he can get a catalog. So you can send us in your mailing address. Or go to our website, and there is an area on there where you can request a catalog. So whatever way you would like to do. And then we had John Melvin, who said that he tried asking for the score sheet, but Illinois will not supply it. But they were very helpful in describing what to look for.
Very good.
And make sure to tune in or ask any questions that you have. This is the perfect time to. If you're competing, get the judge's point of view from questions. So we'll try to answer the best that we can.
And while we're on the topic of competitions, Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company is, how many states do we have these in now? We must have 38 states.
No, man keeps telling me I need more, I need more, I need more.
These were sculpted in-house, they were molded in-house, they were painted in-house. They were engraved down the street, but these are the Competitors Award, and the gold is the Masters and the silver is the Professional. And to win one of these, you need to enter 4 different entries, and it can be 4 fish, or it can be 4 birds, or it can be a fish bird, game hen. You can mix them up. You have to have a combined score of 350
Minimum, yep.
minimum 350, and to win one of these. And man, that's an effort. If you that's like 90 score of 90 apiece, and if you enter 4 things and score 90 in a master competition,
Yeah.
my hat's off to you, because that's an undertaking. I do one at a time every few years, and that's
It's a lot.
nearly a divorce in the making when you do that.
Another thing too, looping back to that, why it's a good idea to go to those shows. I think it's a networking thing too. You get to meet people and make friendships that might last a lifetime, and there's going to come a time when you might need an antelope cape or a deer cape or a bird or something like that. And when you get to know people not only in your own state, from other states, some of those people are just a phone call away to help you find the things that you need, like locating a cape or something like that.
Yeah.
And also, it's a good idea to support your local show, local state organization, because there's a lot of legislative things that come into your local state, and you need a collective voice among all the taxidermists to help regulate and self-regulate an industry, that whether you do it as a profession or if you do it as a hobby, those laws apply equally to everybody. And so in order to have a little bit of input in those laws that are ultimately going to affect the hobby or the business that you're in, it's nice to support your local organization so that you at least have a voice at the State House to help with the legislative process that is going to govern. So.
Along those lines, where meeting people in the fellowship and stuff like that, and somebody might have a cape for you. I just mentioned to Brad today, when we started in the early days, man, when did Iowa start? It was
early 80s.
Early 80s, and there was a gentleman by the name of Jerome Sokolik, which I just said to Brad, and Jerome was a taxidermist who, most people that do competition things will take a specimen and they will spend 1 billion hours trying to split the eyelashes and eyelash numbers and things like that and get all carried away. Jerome would take his customer work and he would bring it to the shows, and Jerome always scored in the 80s and 90s with his customer work. And Jerome called me the other day just to check in, and he's 90, I want to say 94, 95 years old. He sounded every bit as good as he did,
He's a great guy.
when he was active. And Jerome used to do a lot of seminars, but Jerome, many of you people now, you buy a form from us or McKinsey or Research or something like that, and you have it. Jerome wrapped his bodies, and I went to a seminar one time, and Jerome wrapped a red fox. And the red fox had the ribs sewed in. It had the trapezius muscle sewed in. It was the most beautiful work of art ever, and it was wrapped. And as he got closer in his wrapping, he went to thread from string and had the real skull played up, and it was gorgeous. And that's how it used to be done. Those type of people were real artists. And Jerome just called me. I was so honored. I mean, and I talked to his wife Bernice, and she sounded as good as he did in there.
That's really neat.
Sarah DeJournet said, "Hey guys, thanks again for all you do."
Well, you are welcome, and we'll do all we can. And when we go to these shows, stop by the booth, like we said, and there's a lot of things to show you, a lot of new and exciting things, like I mentioned. We have a new line of whitetail forms, XP whitetail forms.
That's growing. That line is growing every day.
They're super popular. In a semi-sneak version, they have an index for the ears, for ears back and ears forward. They'll fit most of the injection molded ears. Great detail in the head. Right now we have a 7.5, line of 7.5. We'll have 7 3/4. Real attractive semi-sneak clothes. Any of the heads were carcass cast and
pretty.
modeled from the carcass cast. And the briskets are the briskets lay in there. We had one of the students doing one, and you tip them upside down, and it's kind of fun to work with these students because some of them have to pull and cut and tug and stuff, and some of them just lay in there. How come that lays in there so nice? Because it's a XP form, you know. Anyway, that's one of the whitetails. And like I mentioned earlier, you can take the best form in the world if you don't know how to put a skin on it, and have a little bit of experience and look at the real animal. It's not going to look any better than a square
That's
block
one
of
of the
bone.
fun things too about attending seminars is at the Wisconsin show. Brian will be there.
Brian Olson.
Yep.
And
Should be
Brian
around.
Olson is one of the sculptors for XP Forms, along with Mark Honoring and Pat Wagner, and they're a real hot item right now.
Talk to the guys.
And they also sculpt the Sagebrush Series mule deer, and that's another one. And we, I mention this often, but I always get kind of excited. We literally ship out pallet loads of Sagebrush Series mule deer, and we have these boxes that extend up, so they get really, really tall. And I don't know what they can be to ship, but they just, as they put forms in, they just keep sliding the box up, and they get more and more and more in. We probably one of Brett's babies is your nose. You better tell him I'm not going to steal your thunder. That's another one of our.
Well, and we started with Brian's too. We started with the mule deer form, the mule deer nose, that was specially made for the Sagebrush Mule Deer series. Large and a medium and a small, available for almost all of the mule deer that we carried. And as we expected, as soon as that nose hit the market, the question came up for the whitetail. When are we going to have whitetail? And we had a cast that we'd made just a year prior, and finally.
And go ahead and back up a little bit, because there's 800 hours in that nose, and
there's a lot.
Brief them a little, just roughly on the process, because it's fascinating.
Oh man, the process of making this, it started with a very, very good cast. I had a deer that I had shot myself, had some interest in it, and had been talking about it, and had been out to see Clint Rickey, and Clint had some ideas on the molding and casting process. I went out there and set one up when I got home, and gosh, it sat around for a little while. We finally poured it, got the part out, and we had a great reference cast. It was a long ways away from this, but we ended up with some of the information and talking with Brian when Brian came out in the fall, and what he had put together for his mule deer. We're able to go to that cast and use the information there to create this whitetail. I think we've been through, this is about our third rendition, and we spent a little extra time with it. We've mounted on it a few times. We've had it out to several different people. Several people have weighed in and given us some information, some really good information, some little symmetry things here and there, and just a few things that will help our fit. And we finally got a production nose that is sculpted and matches really well. It matches up to the XP whitetail really nicely. We've got another head that we're in the works on for our trademark series that it's going to work well for.
As well as competitor choice.
And we just put one on the competitor's choice a couple days ago, and pleasantly surprised at how well that went, and kind of working on maybe a little process of making that easier for you too. So these noses have been fun.
And people say, why would I spend the money on that? Because this is what, $16?
Yep.
I don't know if you tuned into us, a few sessions ago when I modeled one from scratch, and Brett took a cast one, and I was on my first nostril after probably the end of the show, and Brett had to wait for the hot glue gun to warm up, and his was done and ready to mount on. But for $16, with the cost of a Sagebrush Series mannequin, we're still proud to say that it is less expensive than most competitors' mule deer forms. So you can get the artificial nose and the mule deer form cheaper than you can get a mule deer form. And it's all about production. Some people say, you lose your creativity and things like that. We're in this to turn out a good product and make money and make a profit in this business. So this will do it for you. It's and your symmetry is always perfect. And if you look in the back, you can see the nasal passage back here. That's how deep the detail is. They're fabulous, fabulous detail. So that's one thing you're going to see at our shows. You'll see the Sagebrush Series mule deer, the XPs, whitetail. You're going to see the noses.
Are you gonna make Brad work on one of those noses, take one home and try it?
Oh, sure. Oh, heavens, yeah. And as always, Mandy furnishes us with every new tool that there is. And we get some really, really fun tools. These are the design tools, rubber handled. There's 3 different sets. And I don't know what's all in them. I have the red set, I think, and it's got really fun little tools for lip tucking and working on eyes and cutting lips and sculpting.
For every job.
There is, and they're not very expensive either. And I like the handles because I can find them. I look for my red or I look for my green. So we're gonna have lots of tools, more tools than ever. So you'll see those.
Yep. There's often a show discount on some of this stuff, so great to take advantage of that.
Often, like always.
Always for us. Yep.
I think there
Always
is.
for us. And that's one of the benefits of being a member and being paid to register for the show. I think, you know how much it is? It's pretty. There
Over the shows.
Yeah, there's usually a couple extra bonus deals too. A flat discount, but then sometimes we've also had some little doorbusters.
Oh gosh, we always have that.
So that's
always
kind of
have
fun
that.
for them.
And anytime you go to these shows, not only do you get to participate in the seminars, you get to do all that. You get to go talk to the vendors. You get to do all that. You get to take part in all the vendors' discounts, and most of them are 10 to 15%. You get to see all the new products before anybody else does. You get to talk to the big boys, you know.
And do we have shows that we're going to deliver to? Can they pre-order for a couple of our shows?
It's getting a little out of hand. We've done that, and that's where the
trailers
trailer comes in. Yes, we're gonna have to, like the Wisconsin show's the first one, and Joe and Mandy will be setting up. Jacob and I think will be tearing down, and I know they're taking out a lot of supplies, and it's filling up. We can't handle the big form orders anymore because I think we could be filled. You can call and check if you need a 1 or 2. Some of these people, I mean, for these shows, there's people that order 40, 50 mannequins that we deliver, and it just saved them $300 or $400 shipping.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So we have Ron Keaton who's tuning in, and he says that he wants to learn taxidermy and wants to know where and how to start.
Well, he's in the right place.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. If Mandy was here, but Caitlin's pretty good at it too. Northwest Iowa School of Taxidermy, right here in this building. We have a class going right now of great students. We have 9 exceptional students.
From all over.
From all over.
Ages, all very diverse group this time.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the last 25 years or so, I think I've hired 6 or 7 students
You have, yes,
that
you
have
have.
come through your school. So the education that they get here at the Northwest Iowa School of Taxidermy makes them very hireable and desirable to other bigger taxidermy shops. So I'd recommend the school highly. I've had a number of
Pay you for what you
yeah,
say.
yeah. So
And-
no, it's the truth. It gives them a good education. And like I said, I've hired 6 or 7 of your former students.
And I've known Brad for, like I said, 40 years probably. You said you've been in this 40 years, and I think I was at a probably a show the first time you were there. And I never liked you when I first met you because you were
I'm an acquired taste. Like,
you were at down. I think it was at Cedar Falls with Cedar. The Unidome. We were at the Unidome, and Brad Colson was Brad Colson, and you were up in where the secretary and all that stuff, with Peggy or Clark or something, or Brian Maidosh or those guys, and Mel Ulenhop, remember him? And I kind of looked at him, and I don't think I like him. You know, I did. He was too young, and starting out at an early age, which was kind of a benefit in this business. And but since then, Brad has been gracious enough to come up and help with our students many times, and still keeps coming up.
Yeah.
But you also get to meet them and see personalities,
Yeah.
you know, and man, you've had several over the years.
Yeah.
Several.
Yeah. Like I said, I've hired 6 or 7 students from the class, and it's good for me. I enjoy it. It's nice to give back a little bit for the education. But there have been a lot of mentors along the way that have helped and assisted me. People that were only a phone call away. Mike Dingus comes to mind. Dennis McElvain comes to mind. Wendy Sank. There's been a number of people that over the years that I met at those shows that were willing to help me out and help me through some tough spots and answer questions. And so if I can take my 40 years of experience and come up here and help some of these students get a good start, get them off on the right foot, and I think that's what your classes do, is get people off on the right foot, then it's good to give back, because there were a lot of people that helped me out over the years and assisted me with things that I don't know where I've been without their advice, really.
Well, we appreciate you coming up.
And Ron, to add to that, every Thursday night at 4 p.m. Central Time, we do 1 hour live seminars. And the great thing about technology is you can go on our YouTube page and find all of our previously recorded lives on Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company.
And how many is there? There's got to be
There's a lot.
130.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we do short how-to videos every once in a while.
And taxidermy is, I'll be the first one to say, this is a 9-week course. You can't learn taxidermy in 9 weeks. But we can show you how to mount a deer head. We can show you how to staple off the back. We can show you how to set an eye. It's up to you to go home and practice. Meet people like Brad. He'll give you his phone number, and you can call him up and say, hey, they showed me how to do this, but it's not working. And his number is 515. But you'll meet people that will help you. You'll meet other people. We are only a phone call away also. But taxidermy, I mean, for me, has been a lifelong learning thing, and I'm probably still not done.
No?
Getting close, but probably still not done. But anyway, there's new products. This.
Yeah, the business has changed in 30 years.
What if this would have been at the Unidome? What would you have said? You know, what the heck is that? You know,
Yeah.
And even if you don't use this, it's a great little reference tool.
Yeah,
Also.
They are. We're
But
using them for reference.
there's all kinds of new tools and new products. But not only having a new product, you need somebody to show you how to use it too. You know, so we can do a lot in 9 weeks, and we can point you in the direction and kick you out the door. But then it's up to you to join your associations, to continue meeting people, to start out mounting some of your own specimens, and practice.
Yeah.
And 40 years later, you're going to be a taxidermist.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of work, and before these students come, that's the one thing I'll say. It's a lot of work. It's not an easy profession.
Education starts here.
Yeah, there you go.
It doesn't end here. It just begins.
We've got Mark Allen tuning in. He says, Brad, my brother from another mother, the guy that sets my bar. Please tell him hi.
Thank you, Mark. Always good to see Mark.
And Lori Bill loves the bobcat behind you.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That was a Jim and Brenda thing, and we, like they said, they actually mounted, but what they said is, we love your vision. And what I said is, I mean, this was a stock pose, and he was just up, you know, like a growl, you know, type of bobcat, and they don't do anything for me. I said, I want a dynamic, something that you go, wow, is that cool? And Jim got out the Sawzall, and he started turning the bobcat, and it's tremendous alteration. I love it, and it will be the pattern for our entire jumping line of bobcats.
It's got great action
Doesn't it?
and motion in it, yeah. And that's where the artistic part of this comes in, and what makes it really fun and exciting is to be able to take those stock forms and learn how to do some form alterations And there again, that's where your research and your reference and stuff come in. But that cat is just fantastic. They did a great job on it, and the alterations and stuff just made a really exciting pose and stuff.
And it's not a big bobcat, and a hen pheasant is not a dynamic, colorful piece, but the whole thing just does it for me. It's just does it
It's
for me.
neat stuff.
Thanks, guys.
What are some of the things that we're gonna bring? What is one of the things that you've been most excited about? And I'm trying to lead you toward something I see back here because we're gonna demo some really cool stuff.
Is it the colorful one?
I think it is, yeah.
I thought it was the brown one.
No,
Createx paint, I'm thinking you're talking about.
I am. I'm excited about this, and it's something that they'll see in the booth, I'm sure, in several capacities.
I think I can paint adequately, but when it comes to painting fish, the tip of the hat has to go to Brett, and so we got led to Createx paints by Chad Elliott from Sharpen Air that makes the airbrush sharpening needles, and I watched a video of his and the detail that he was getting painting. Mandy said, you're supposed to call him about the Sharpen Airs. When I did, I said, I just have to comment on your painting from your video. I said, what kind of paint are you using? And he said, there is only one kind of paint. He said, Createx. And I said, tell me about Createx. And Createx has been around a long time. It's been continually evolving and evolving. Createx is the paint for all the Disney. I mean, Disney is almost exclusively Createx products from their masks. There's flexitives you can put in it, from their dioramas, from their habitats to their rides to everything. There's additives that they paint cars with Createx. They paint motorcycles, motorcycle gas tanks. All those really cool helmets and gas tanks are all painted with Createx. He was getting such fine detail, is why when I called him, I mean, I just couldn't wait to find out what he was using. He was using an Iwata airbrush, but he said that's not critical, it's the paint. And the paint is a little bit thicker than we're used to. And when I get a thick paint, I dump a lot of thinner in it, and I try to make it like thin as alcohol, you know, and I spray films. I think I do well that way. This is more of an artistic paint. This is called illustration colors. There's several different colors. There's metallics and things like that. It's not without a learning curve. So Jacob and I and Brett set aside one day, are we going to pursue this Createx thing or not? And one Friday, nobody's going to do anything except paint. And, you know, we kept going to, Jacob seemed to know the technical part of it because he had watched every YouTube video on Createx there was. So Brett would say something and Jacob said, well, that's because the emulsification, you know, what the heck, where did you get this information? And he'd watched the video. But all I'll say is don't spend $300 on all the Createx paints, get it, and not like it. Buy one at, I don't know, $6, $7. Buy one, get some of the reducer that goes with it, and play with it. Your airbrush will love it. It's unlike any it's acrylics, it's water-based. There's no fumes. We have not run our exhaust fan in 6 months here, other than skinning a stinky skunk or something like that, you know. Gas and birds, yeah. But for paint, there's no fumes, there's no smell, and your airbrush will love it. It almost like lubricates your airbrush. And when we clean out our airbrush with the thinner, I always have trouble with any kind of acrylics because the needles end up sticking. I have to take the needle out next time I want to use it. This is like you put oil in it. It's really, really nice. There's a whole lot of reducers, so there's a lot of experimentation and playing. It works different in different humidities. It works different times of the year, temperatures, things like that. But we really, really like it. And
see us at the show at the booth, and we will have.
Yeah, we'll have it. You can play with it. We're going to have samples.
Yep. Come see us. Take some home. Play with it. Play with it in the booth. We'll take airbrushes and compressors, and
it's got a lot of nice little attributes. One thing we found They call it dry erase.
Yep.
Dry erase. We had our house painted a few years ago, and the painter said, you know that paint doesn't cure for 28 days. What do you mean 28 days? Winter's going to be here in 28 days. He said 28 days before that latex paint dries. I mean, it'll dry, but it won't cure. This is much the same. 24 hours before this cures. It'll dry. This stuff dries as fast as lacquer does. It dries very fast. But it does not fully cure for 24 hours. Between the time you spray it and 24 hours later, you have the ability to dry erase with a sponge, with a rag, with your finger. And we liked it for doing finish work on deer. You can spray the deer flesh around the eye, get all that paint in the hair, and with a soft towel you can wipe it right out for 24 hours. After 24 hours, you should have done it yesterday, because it adheres very, very good. Comes in a multitude of colors. There's some really fun colors. We got some kits. Mandy started to put some kits together. So,
And that's a feature of the illustration colors, the dry erase. The wicked colors aren't.
and as we started, Jacob and I kept looking at Brett, Mr. Paint over there, and how do you like it? How do you like it? And he wouldn't say a lot for probably 3 hours. And then about noon he says, I don't hate it. That's a good sign, but not enough for us to carry $20,000 worth of paint. And by the end of the day, I think his exact words were, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's used it ever since.
We really have, and it is a learning curve. I think I get more excited about it every day that I use it because it's very, very versatile. There's a lot of things that I think you can do with the Createx paint, and we'd be happy to show you a little bit. I think we know 1/100th or 1/1000th of what you can do with it, but we're learning a little bit more every day. So come see us at the booth, and we'll try to learn along with you. It's a really good product.
Can you mix colors, Brett? Can you mix?
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
make custom colors?
Yeah, you really can, and they've got a super exciting palette of colors that was developed for the special effects industry that I think applies to our mammals really well, flesh tones, and it's just it's a really neat offering, and we're excited to have it.
All right, we have a few questions coming in. The first one is from Morris Stevens, and he wants to know if Master's Blend needs to stay at room temperature.
The MT Masters blend, yes. It will thicken as it's refrigerated, but what's nice about the MT blend is at room temperature of all of the bird foot injections, or at least the urethane type injections, it seems to give us the most working time. So you don't have to refrigerate.
Yeah,
to
probably
get the
4 to 5 minutes, don't you?
5 might be high, but yeah, I bet you have
Yeah.
4. 4 before it thickens. You'll feel the warm reaction in the cup as you mix, but you have a good 4 minutes of working time with the MT at room temperature versus some of the others that to get to 2.5, 3 minutes, you do have to refrigerate it and keep it cold. Ours you can keep at room temp.
All right, and then we've got Tammy Langer, who says that she will be joining California's Association ASAP. She didn't realize as a newer taxidermist how important it really is. I always learn something amazing with each video you do. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
It's a great investment. You'll never, once you join, I don't think you'll never not, as long as you're an active taxidermist, you'll always. And the more active you get in it, they're always looking for secretaries and treasurers and things like that. But the more active you get in the association, the more you're going to learn and be accepted and things like that.
Your network grows.
Then we've got Lori Bill, who is referring back to the Createx, and she wants to know what would you thin that down with?
They have a multitude of thinners. I don't have them up here, but they're in numbers like 4011, 4012, 4013,
Yeah, 20.
4020, and they're all a little bit different. I think one of them has an alcohol base, one of them has an acetone base. There are different bases to them, and I think we've even thinned with alcohol, have we not?
Yep, we've used some alcohol.
And just experimenting and trying different ideas. But I don't know, if I grab one, I probably grab the 4013 because it's in a bigger bottle. And rather than we have a lot of little bottles, sample bottles, but we grab the 4013
It's been working really well for us. I think the fancy paint people at Createx would tell us there are certain environmental conditions that one's going to perform better over the others. In our shop environment, we found that 13 is working really well for
In
us.
talking to the people at Createx, their big concern is being able to operate in California, where you can't even put it in a plastic bottle.
Oh my gosh.
Because
I have to tell a California story. I tried to order a stocking hat and have it sent to my mom in California. I got all through the order process and I punched in the address for a stocking hat to send to my mother, and it said this product cannot be shipped to California. A stocking hat.
they can't do
Anyway,
anything
they
in
can't do
California. Except join your taxidermy association. But all this Createx and most of the reducers are legal in California.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And they're going to great efforts to make sure that they're ahead of the curve on that. So that's another thing that makes it very exciting for us to carry Createx, is we know that we're going to be, I believe our lacquer paint days are numbered. And I think this is
And I
a
love
great
lacquer
move
paint.
for
I've used it for, 40 years, 30 years at least, you know, and it's been good to me. But Createx, another great thing about it is it's color fast. And I look at fish that I painted 10 years ago, I have them out the showroom, and I know they were prettier when I painted. I knew they were brighter and more vibrant. And I think I have used paints in the past that have faded, you know, and Createx Color Fast will not fade, UV protected, and all the other terms. So that's one of our fun things.
Then we have John Melvin, who would like to know when the Createx kits will be ready.
Oh, I think Mandy's got some.
Yeah.
We have a few different kits available. They will, I'm sure, be populated online as soon as they're finalized. But I know we've put together an animal kit. I believe that's available now. We are in the works on a bird kit. We've talked about several others, and I think just keep checking online and keep checking with us on Thursdays, and we will make sure that you're updated as soon as we have them live.
And the one drawback presently, which we will overcome soon, is we don't have a bass green, we don't have a musky green, we don't
That's
have a perch yellow,
Yeah.
which we probably will in the future.
Yeah.
So you're reliant on what we think you should use, or the color swatches.
Yep.
And they're easily a drop of this and 2 drops of this, or use your color wheel. The color wheels are great for mixing paint. A lot of people don't understand the color wheel, and we'll have those at the show, and we'll show you how to make them.
And we also put on a couple weeks ago, Caitlin, did we ever get we had a deer finishing paint swatch?
The side by side.
Yes, yep. So if that might be available to them, where can they find that? Is that online?
It's not, but we will get it posted.
Okay. Yeah, so we've done some color comparisons and things. But another exciting thing that you'll see at our shows.
Corey Carruthers, this is an interesting story because Corey Carruthers is probably one of the finest bird taxidermist, bird product developer, probably in the world. Corey Carruthers worked for Brad for quite some time, and Brad nurtured him in his early youth.
I teased him a lot too.
And Brad's comment about Corey was, and Corey's known for his birds. Corey can do as fine a fish as he can birds.
Yes,
Brad would always say about Corey is the only person I know that can see 6 different colors on a fish scale and put them all back in.
He's very talented.
Isn't he talented?
Yeah, extremely talented.
But we have, oh man, how many new bird heads did he come out with for the catalog? We must have a
I'd say a dozen or more.
dozen or more. We got Borealis eiders. We've got humpback, hump nose eiders.
Yeah,
We
very
have
specialty form.
the largest selection of different Ross goose configurations as you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Different size. I mean, we must have like 6 different sizes of mallards and geese, and we have a huge selection of artificial bird heads. Corey is developing a new line of bodies. which are going to be really, really, really popular. But we'll have several of these. We can't bring all the bird heads because there's, oh man, 130, 40 different species. And so we can't bring them all. They accept the Europe eyes, or you can get them the do-it-yourself version where it's just a socket. You can use any eye that you want. And but there's too many variations to bring, so we bring the common things. We'll bring the wood ducks, we'll bring the mallards, you know, the common things. But if you want us to bring something special for you, if you just want to look at it, holler, and we'll make sure it gets on the trailer.
Another exciting thing that you can look for at your shows with your vendors is reference material. I think that's one of the best resources for reference material because you can hold it in your hands, you can look at it, you can get recommendations from different people. We will have this book, and we just heard, who called? You had said someone had just notified us how much they enjoyed the reference book.
Yeah. I mean, look at these pictures.
Comment.
This is Mandy, Dan Rips, Lacey Combs,
Yeah.
and plus some of our shop pictures. We had deer here for years and years and years and years, as did you.
Yeah.
We used to have deer. This is I think this is our eye book. Nope, this is a regular deer reference book that'll have eyes and ears and noses. There's one for just eyes, there's one for just noses, and one for ears. But I don't think you can beat these photographs. They're fabulous. This must be fabulous photographs. And when it comes to competing, going back to competitions, you cannot compete without this type of reference.
Agreed. Yeah.
I mean, the best thing ever is live deer, of course, but the second best thing are the casts, measurements, and photographs like these.
And live deer are always moving around, so, you know, and it's not always convenient to have a live deer in the studio, so with something like that, you've got the pictures right there when you need them.
And we'll have these at the shows. Those are very, very popular.
Jacob Conroy says, will you have those reference books available for purchase at the Wisconsin show?
Oh, I'm sure
Yes,
we'll have
we
a
will.
pile of them.
Yep. I think I saw them go into a box already, so I'm pretty confident we will. But get them early. Every show we had them at last year, they did sell out of them. So stop by the booth early to make sure.
And this
What
is one of my
that?
favorites. We do a lot of big fish here. We do a lot of muskies and northerns, and to find a piece of driftwood to put a muskie and northern on is not possible. We used to take that cedar and we would screw it all together and put about 4 to 5 pieces. 4 to 5 pieces of cedar to fit a big muskie. Probably is going to weigh 30, 35 pounds. This is, we got this piece. We made a mold of it, and we can make these. And you can color them yourself. You can get them unfinished, or you can get them colored. They're recessed in the back to hide any bolts or connectors. And this thing probably weighs 7 pounds, 6 pounds.
Lightweight, easy to use, and we'll
And what'd you say? Gold eyes or old squaws or something like that?
Yeah, you could put a couple of sea ducks or something on there, or even pheasants or something.
Sure.
Flying birds on there would look fantastic as well.
Vertically, dead mount goose
Mhm.
would fit that pretty well. Some of those things that are hard to find otherwise, vacuum boards, that's a nice one.
Even a nice old ear gecko coming out of that.
Would look nice.
And if you're new with us, we do have a very, very hilarious video that we created. It was Tom's idea. You can get a feel of the comedy that Tom brings around here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course you do.
But we'll probably have some of those at the show too, won't we? Some of the
They're hard to
some
haul,
artificial-
but we will. They take up a lot of space, but we'll have them. We will.
Yeah.
I'll make sure Jacob puts them in.
Make sure.
Area.
But we've got tons of stuff, tons and tons of things. Can't tell you enough about how excited we are for the show season this year. New products to bring you, new things to work with, people to see. We're just getting started.
All right, well, I think it's time to announce our giveaway today. We are giving away this is a very exclusive kit. It is our competition prep kit that
And this is it. This is what you
Tom put together. And the winner is Karen Wegerer. And I'm not sure if I did see her on there.
get. This is, people going to shows, it's kind of interesting because running the booth, the first, we're there like, say Thursday or early Friday morning, we'll have 2 to 3 people come by because something happened to their entry and they need, you don't have just a little black paint, or do you have a small brush, or you don't have a magic marker I can touch up a lip with or something like that. And there's a lot of nice tools in here. It's just a little satchel, but it's got some eye tools. There's a water brush. There's a good reverse curve knife. In case this is for our Australian student, there's a NT bottle opener.
But I thought he was for cans.
Just in case, what?
I thought he liked cans.
Well, I'm not sure he's really fussy. There's a tweezers, a little brush, and some artist brushes. But you can fill this up with your favorite tools, whatever you think you're going to need at the last minute. Some people have great big toolboxes. That's great too. You can have your toolboxes, but it's kind of nice to have something like this, a little satchel. It all zips together.
That's a pretty
And
exciting
this was
one.
a brainchild of Mandy. And take that with you. And super glue is another thing.
Yeah.
We go through 2 tubes of super glue that we give out to people just to save things. And something's always happening. They'll break something, or something will come loose from the base, or seashell fell off of their sea duck.
And it's a good gift idea as well.
Craig says cans are just fine, Tom.
It's funny.
So she won that because she liked and shared,
our last week's video. So make sure to like and share this week's video. And go ahead and once you share, comment in the comment section. Sometimes with Facebook's privacy settings, we are unable to see who shared, just so you get that chance. And next week, we will be going live at the Wisconsin show
show, yeah.
on Friday or Thursday.
It'd have to be Friday, I guess.
Friday.
I bet it would be Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so that will be exciting. Tom Dutter wants to know if we announced the catalog contest, and we did for the $100 gift certificate last week or the week before. I think it was Morris Stevens, and our Matuska staff is still voting for their favorite, and that should be announced next week.
Did you see all the catalog covers back there? You gotta look. You gotta look in Mandy's office. They're all on the board, and people get really, really creative with. They'll take a picture when they got our catalog, and then the staff votes on it.
Yeah, it was very fun.
So stop by our booth and visit with us and ask us what's new. We'll be glad to show you and ask us any questions you might have. And
Good luck to all the competitors.
Good luck, yeah. And don't be afraid to. And another thing, going back to the competitions, don't start now for the Wisconsin show next week. People actually do that. And some people, I'll say, "What'd you bring?" "Oh gosh, I brought a mallard and I brought a largemouth bass." "Oh, I brought 2 perch." "Oh, I brought a deer." I got this little kangaroo I brought. And no, that's not how you really want to do this. You want to enter one thing in special. Once you've conquered one thing, maybe 2, but
yeah.
All right, and as always, if you need to place any orders, you can visit our website at shop.matuskataxidermy.com or give us a call at 1-800-488-3256.
thank you, everybody. Thanks, Caitlin.